the great, great baseball men in the country, Jim Salisbury. Hello, Jimmy.
Hello, Anthony. How you doing? Congratulations on your new show. I saw the maiden voyage yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. It was great.
You look great, buddy. It's
Hey,
so good to see you, man. We go
it's good
back
to
a
see you.
long way, man.
Absolutely. When you were covering the Cubs in suburban Chicago, and then you moved to the Post, and we were at the Post together. Anthony covered the Mets, and I covered the Yankees in the '90s. Well, I was only there 1 year. You were there many years, but I was there in '96, and it was a great year to work in New York with Jeter's
World
rookie
Series,
year,
yeah.
Doc's no hitter, and of course, them winning the World Series for the first time in 18 years. Joe Torre became uh, almost an overnight legend, uh, and so it was. And it was a great. I'm forever thankful to Greg Gallo and Dick Clayman and Pat Hannigan and Tom Keegan, Joel Sherman, all those guys, Serby and you for all looking after me and giving me a shot there.
It was great. We had I talk about him a lot. We had this editor who was a big baseball fan, and he was like Jonah Jameson from Spider Man, right? Like he had that tabloid mentality, and like he used to get go buy him a sandwich, like go get Derek Jeter. It's like go get Derek Jeter, go buy. He can buy his own sandwich, right? Like
Yeah,
like that's not going to entice him. He was a funny guy, great guy. He pushed you, but yeah,
he
we
pushed.
became better journalists.
He definitely pushed you, and that go buy a sandwich line is kind of a classic. And if you're in the know, it means get close to the guy, get close to
Yes.
the subject you're trying to write to.
Talk to the mother.
Get yes, and get on the inside. And I think I have the ultimate talk to the mother story in relation to New York. Um, so as I mentioned, '96 was Jeter's rookie year, and he was different then. The walls hadn't gone up yet. He wasn't as protective. He was more
Yeah.
open. I mean, eventually he had to put the walls up to have some type of a personal and private life. But anyway, I was talking to him late in that season, doing a background piece, and his dad came up. I think his dad played college ball, and he said, "I'd love to talk to your dad." And he goes, "Yeah, take down his phone number." So I took down his phone number, and and then things got busy. It was like September. They were in a pennant race, and I didn't get to the story right away. And then it was they won the World Series, the hottest story in town. And all of a sudden now it's November, and he's going to win the Rookie of the Year on like a Tuesday. They're going to announce it. He's going to be. Everybody knows it's going to be the Rookie of the Year. So the editors say, "Hey, how are we going to preview the Jeter Rookie of the Year announcement Sunday? We need a story." And I'm like, "Yeah." So I got his dad's number. I'm going to try to call his dad. He gave me his number. So boom, pick up the phone, call up his dad, have a great chat with his dad about young Derek growing up and whatnot. And Mr. Jeter says to me, "Hey, my wife wants to talk to you." I'm like, "Great." So she jumps on the phone and she's telling me all these
This
great
is
stories about.
gold. Meanwhile, you're like, this is gold.
I'm like, talk about get the mother. I mean, she wanted.
Yes.
Who wants to talk to a writer?
Right, right,
So
right, right.
she jumps on the phone and she's talking about how surreal the year was, '96, and she says, you know, when Derek was in middle school, every night before bed, he'd come into our bedroom and imitate Dwight Gooden's pitching delivery in our full length mirror. And we'd say, "Derek, go to bed. Get out of here. You got to get up in the morning." So she says, one year he's imitating Doc Gooden's delivery in our mirror, and now he's playing behind him in a no hitter. How surreal it was! But we've all done it. We've all
Yeah.
done it. Imitated,
Mike Schmidt, man, the wiggle. He had the
in the
wiggle.
in the in the full length mirror. And
Yes,
I mean, I just
yes.
thought that story was gold. Such a little peek at what he was like in middle school, a kid full of dreams, and they all came true. So
Yeah.
that's always been the best part of sports writing is storytelling. It's always been my favorite thing. I know it's your favorite thing, and so just opening day, I guess, conjures a lot of those memories.
It does. Jimmy, I'll share with you a Charlie one. And you and I are both very close to Skip, and I love that man. He's just everything that, of course, now I think he's met everyone in the Delaware Valley, but everything you see is him. And I wanted to do a story spending the day with him, and just to go. So I fly to Florida and go to Winter Haven where he lived, and we just hung out and we watched baseball, and we went to eat barbecue, and we went to a kids
where did
game.
you go? Did you go to People's
Yes,
Barbecue in Auburn?
People's, yes.
I did the same story with him. I spent a couple days with him. Watched him fish for crappies, whatever those are. They sound crappy.
Yeah.
We played some golf, and we ate some barbecue, and then went to Dairy Queen for a blizzard.
Yeah. Jim, man, it was great.
He's the best. The way he relates to people.
Oh, he's unbelievable, man. He's got that way. And you covered him, of course, when he was managing and the whole thing. And, it was interesting how he was first taken in Philadelphia. I remember David Segui, who was a buddy of mine, had played for Charlie in Cleveland. And so when Charlie, he's like, dude, you got Charlie, man. Everybody wanted Jim Leland. And when they hired Charlie, Segui calls me up. He's like, dude, you got Charlie. He's my man. You're going to love him. So I'm like, oh, cool. Let him know, right? So then, he's like, oh, you're friends with Segui. And we became fast buddies. I had met him when I was covering the Indians, like back then during the playoffs. Because I would always do, when you did the Yankees, I would always do the teams that they were playing. And so I knew Charlie. Charlie was that lifer and all. I'm like, oh, yeah, we got reacquainted. And it took a while for Philadelphia to warm up to him. And then, of course, they fall in love with him.
Yeah. I when his mom died during the 2008 World Series, I got up at 2:00 in the morning and I drove to the funeral down in, as they say, Buena Vista, Virginia. I went down, you go around DC and jump on 81, go south. And so I drove down there to that funeral, and it was really moving, to be there and to see, to see Charlie's World Series dreams come through, juxtaposed with such a personal situation. And I wasn't eavesdropping or anything. I wasn't unwelcome. They knew I was coming, and it was special to be there, because he's a really special guy. It was special to see the town he grew up in, and just how respected he is, and how beloved he is in that little town that he grew up in. Sort of local boy done good, but who never forgot his hometown. And he's just, when he was introduced at that press conference, I mean, and Ed Wade took a lot of heat for hiring him, but Ed Wade took a lot of heat for a lot of things. And then in retrospect, Ed Wade did
put together that team. Yeah.
In retrospect, Ed Wade did a lot of things right. Hat tip, and Charlie was one of them. But if you remember Charlie at the press conference, he said, "I'm a people's person," and people snickered. Well, he is a people's person. Sorry, that is what he is, and the way he described it was just so perfect. I mean, it's a guy, when he was managing the Phils, and even right after he was managing the Phils, he loves Wegmans. This is like he loves Wegmans, and it would take him 6 hours to go through Wegmans because everybody would stop him, and everybody wanted a picture, and he'd talk to everybody. It was really funny. I remember we were sitting in Fenway Park once. So this is probably like 2012 or 13. After the run, things were kind of going that way.
On the slide.
So we were out there for batting practice, early batting practice or something, and sitting in the dugout in Fenway Park. And, it's Fenway Park. They have tours. So there's a tour winding through the old ballpark, the 100-year-old ballpark, and, fans. And so now it comes down behind the screen and it weaves over by the on-deck circle, the third base on-deck circle. And we're all sitting in the dugout, Charlie and the writers, and we're just kind of doing our pregame thing. So now they bring the tour down through the gate to the on-deck circle, and they're going to show them a visiting dugout. And all of a sudden, people start going crazy. There's Charlie. There's a lot of Phillies fans, day trippers, but a lot of Red Sox, a lot of just baseball fans. And all of a sudden, everybody wants to shake Charlie's hand. Everybody wants a picture with Charlie. He has to get up from where he's talking to the scribes and go. Now he's posing for pictures. He's kissing babies during a Red Sox tour in Fenway Park. He completely hijacked it. He completely hijacked it in their ballpark. And it spoke to his personality, and he posed for every picture, and he was gracious to every person, even the Sox fans. And that's one of the many, many indelible memories that I have watching him, and we're gonna have a lot more because he's doing great, and he'll be
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. I bring him up too because it's 20 years of Citizens Bank Park. We kick it off today, the 20th anniversary. And obviously that team gave us so many memories. And this one is interesting. This iteration of the Phillies is a very likable one too. I got to tell you, just from the likability standpoint, they're really good, but they're also a lovable bunch. I really like this team.
I think,
and I've been talking about Bryce all morning because Bryce sets the tone for it all.
Yeah, absolutely. The way he embraced the city and the fan base, and I think when he got that big contract, he saw it as a responsibility to be out there a little bit, but he don't act like it's a responsibility. It's very genuine. But yeah, you're right. It's a likable team. And I think the number one thing people like is they win. They didn't win.
Yeah.
They didn't go to the playoffs for a decade.
Yes.
And then they won. And Rob Thompson's a really likable guy. And again, I'm not going to get first and foremost W's, and they won ball games. But Thompson, a very likable guy. Schwarber, very likable guy, much like Thompson, down to earth, very real. Harper, very likable, connects with people, knows how important it is to connect with people. I actually think he sees it as a bit of a responsibility to promote the team and the game. And there's just so many likable guys on that team. I mean, Aaron Nola is one of the nicest, best guys you'll ever meet in your life. I mean, salt of the earth, doesn't make excuses, gets beat around, takes his medicine, has great games, same guy. Really, a lot of good people in that room. Jose Alvarado with that big smile, as we've gotten to know him. I got to know him in 2022, and I've seen him kind of come out of his shell a little bit more. There's a really cool personality in there. Ranger Suarez.
I was going to bring him up.
What a personality. I mean, this is a kid. He's got a great story. Signed for $25,000 out of Venezuela. I mean, he was really shelved during the COVID year. I mean, I don't think he was really sick, but he tested positive. He had to quarantine in a Clearwater hotel for a month, and he had to use DoorDash and get his meals dropped to him, and then he's away from his family, and they gather in his home in Venezuela every time he pitches, and it's a big fiesta every time he pitches. So, yeah, Alec Bohm, and what a great story, the way he went from kind of, at first he looked like one of those baby deer or baby giraffes finding its legs.
Yes.
And now he's upright, and now he's a man. And now he's hitting big home runs in the NLCS, and he's doing something so human. He's improving all the time as a player, getting more comfortable in the spotlight. Had that little bit of adversity a few years ago. It took it like a man, bounced back. Really have a lot of respect for it.
I mean, I hate this bleeping place, right?
Like, that's what I'm referring to.
He owned it, and that, I think. You respected that. The fans respected that, and I think it was a great learning experience for him.
Yeah, I just like the kid. I like that he's improved so much defensively. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that he came out of Wichita State as a selective line drive type hitter, inside out swing. Didn't have one of these swing, and I like that he hasn't changed. He's been himself, and I just think there's going to be continued improvement there. And that's, Stott, same way. Um, you know, Tough, gritty, smart. Um, so many really good guys on that team. But most importantly, the thing we connect with most is they're good, talented players. There's been a lot of good guys on crappy teams. This is a good team
Yeah.
that should win. That is loaded with good guys.
What do you see? Can you see? Look, I look at their rotation. Their top part of the rotation, is intact. We'll see about Walker and Sanchez and what happens at the back end. Their bullpen is among the best in baseball, and you add Whit Merrifield to a terrific lineup, and Merrifield is the perfect addition. I've always loved him because you could play him anywhere. He's a line drive hitter. He'll get the run home from third, less than one out. He's so dependable. And so I look at this team and I go, all right, this is a team that could win almost, that could challenge a 100-win season.
If they get hot, I mean, obviously it's all predicated on good health and performance.
Yeah.
It sounds overly simplistic, but you got to play good. Used to talk about all the time with Charlie. You got to play good. And I don't even know if there's a definition to that. You just got to play good. And we all know what it means. You got to play good defense. You can't give extra bases, extra runs. And you got to do it over 6 months. It's a tough grind. But, I mean, you look at the lineup, there's talent up and down it. You look at the season Castellanos had last year. He had like 3 great off-the-chart months. I mean, if he gets back to being – if he's that guy again, and he's the doubles machine he was in Cincinnati, I mean, Zach Wheeler. I mean, I talked about Bohm continuing to get better. Zach Wheeler, boom. I mean, he's continued to get better in his 30s. In his almost approaching his mid-30s. This guy continually gets better. He found good health. He's really connected with the pitching coach, Caleb Cotham. He believes in a lot of things. He has to. All the things they've done have worked. Really looking forward to seeing how that splitter works for him. It was such a difference maker for so many power pitchers of maybe the last era. Look at what it did for Schilling. Look what it did for Clemens. And wow, you look what it might do mixing in a few of those for Zach Wheeler, who already had a great repertoire. So,
no, but when you add that pitch, like you're right on it. I just want to go a little further on that because when you add that pitch to that arsenal, to that fastball that already tails, it just makes it so tough for a hitter to sit on anything, man.
Yeah, and he's he throws that sweeper. He also throws I remember a cutter, and then a slider, and now a sweeper, and he's got the riding fastball. He's got the sinking fastball. He adds that boom, that split if it's with the same arm speed coming out of that same slot. I mean, you're going to have guys way over it all the time. But he's a great one. I mean, you look at his postseasons. It's like when you have a team like this, and I saw it and I lived it 08, 09, 10, 11. One of the great things about baseball and covering baseball, it's every day. It's an everyday story. It's an everyday serial. It's like, an everyday drama. You tune in at 7:00 and see what happens. But there's a part of you inside when the team is so talented and the projections are so good. And there's a part of you can't wait to, you want to hit the fast forward button, go right to October and see what's going to happen. Zach Wheeler is such a good October pitcher. So yeah, the time is now. The time is now. They need to win one in the next couple of years here because, I think they've done a good job getting some young guys here, like Bowman, Stott, Suarez. We'll see what Rojas is, but their big core, JT and those guys, they're north of 30 now. Time to win, and they got the talent to do it. Like I said, health and performance will dictate.
It's funny you say about fast forward to October. The problem with that is that October is so impossible to even predict. I mean, look, we got an elite matchup today, right? It's Wheeler and Strider, and it's like, wow, it's Atlanta. And just go ask the Braves, right? Who have been tortured by October. The sport is impossible to sit back and go, well, this team can win. Who knows? Like when you get to that point in the season and the playoffs, hot team, the bats just suddenly go silent. Like the Phillies in 11, you mentioned 11. Like that team was the best team in baseball. It wasn't even close.
Wasn't even close. Franchise record wins. They were grinding up people all year long. And basically, you know, in the postseason, you got to get there and then you got to get hot. And there's really no better example than the St. Louis Cardinals, who beat the Phillies in 11.
Yeah.
They got hot. They got hot. I can actually remember the date because I've studied this stuff and I wrote a ton about it. They on August 25th. I don't even think they were in the playoff picture. They just got hot, and you know they finished with an incredible record from August 25th on, and they were grinding up people, and they eke in to the playoffs, and they got hot, and the Phillies had a bad week, and the bats went cold in that series, and the best team in baseball was eliminated in one bad week, and I still can feel and see and hear how quiet and morose and despondent that clubhouse was after that loss. Ryan Howard was on crutches. You're like, what? And they lost. And they weren't supposed to lose. And they weren't supposed to lose then. So there's a randomness to the playoffs. There's a randomness to the game.
Yeah, I still contend if the wind,
how hot you get.
Right. I still contend that game 5, Carpenter was great after he got lit up in game 1. Do you remember the Worth fly ball? It should have been, if it's normal early October where it's warm, the ball probably goes out and it's a 3-run home run.
There was a ball middle of the game by Utley. If he had his old legs, that went right to the wall in center. And then Ibanez hit one late. And one puff of wind takes that ball out.
Yeah, there was one. I think it was the third. There was 2 on, and I want to say it was Worth, and he hits one to.
Yeah,
it was anyway. They went and it goes right. And they catch it right at the wall.
Yeah, I still remember looking over at Halladay, who pitched his heart out, and kind of had his head buried in his hands. His head buried in his hands in front of his locker, and it's just a surreal night that it was over because you really expected it to go on. But like I said, there's so much randomness in the postseason. You look at the Cardinals that year. Look at the Cardinals of 06. Look at the Marlins 2 World Series teams. Look at the Diamondbacks last year. I mean, against all odds, they came into the toughest ballpark to play in baseball. And they shut down that offense. An offense that had, 5 20 home run guys, 4th in the league in runs. They shut them down.
I still can't believe that they lost that. Like, we go back to that series, they were in control of it, and then it was just inexplicable, right? It was baseball. They start pitching it backwards. Believe it because
early in that, and they were chasing, and I think they started pressing because I wonder, as much as it's a great home field advantage, and I think they appreciate it so much, and they want to deliver for the home folks so much. I wonder if it created some if they started pressing for that reasons, because you want to come through so bad. I mean, it's a game where you can't overtry. It's a game of reaction, letting it be natural. But maybe they'll be better for it. Maybe they learned something, from it. Maybe it makes them even more hungry, though I never sensed hunger and desire was a problem. Never sensed that. I just think they're really, I know it's a cliche, but you sense they feel like they have some unfinished business, and Harper's hunger to win a championship. I look at him as a guy that's like, he's very aware of his legend and his place in the game. He was pretty much the greatest most decorated teenage player ever. First, 1-1 overall in the draft. These huge contracts. This sort of the next one, I think the chosen one or something. And I think he's aware of his place in the game, his legend in the game. I think he's aware of the Bryce brand. And I think he knows how important a championship is to that, and just is to his competitive soul. And he wants that badly. And I don't think, and that doesn't mean that Trey Turner doesn't want another one, and Nola and Wheeler don't want one, and Castellanos and all of these guys want one. So, but I do I sense like a 5 alarm fire inside of Harper.
How good are we look at the Phillies? We know how good they are. Atlanta, obviously, and then the Dodgers. I mean, the NL West is nasty.
Yes, it is. I mean, Diamondbacks played in the World Series last year. And they might be the third best team in that division.
Scored a bunch
Padres,
of runs last night.
Yeah, and they added Montgomery, and they got a couple good pitchers, and they got they got that unbelievable kid Corbin Carroll. I love watching that kid.
Yeah, he's terrific.
Dodgers are stacked. Padres still have a pretty good rotation. They got some studs in that lineup, even though they lost one of them. So yeah, it's going to be there'll be a lot of good late night games when you get home, put on the late night games, and the Phillies, the Braves, the Dodgers, probably the three class of the league. And I mean, the Braves are great. Acuna, 2 corner infielders. I love both those guys. Sale's a good pickup. They added lefties in that bullpen.
Yeah.
They got lefties in the bullpen, which is tough. It could be tough on the Phillies, but the fun of it all is throwing it all out there and watching it play out. And I guarantee you, there'll be some angle or story or some person that rises up and makes an unexpected contribution from some team and could end up, being a huge difference maker. Maybe it's Christopher Sanchez. Maybe it's Ranger Suarez, though I wouldn't really call Ranger an under the radar guy. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I actually think he blossoms this year. I think he has.
Yeah, I think he's ready to put together 6 really good months. Maybe Zach Wheeler gets that Cy Young that he should have won a few years ago. I know he wants one, and he's certainly good enough to get one. And maybe John Middleton gets his trophy back. I mean, you talk about hunger. That guy wants it, and he's backed it up. I mean, him and his partners have put their money where their mouth is. They're going to have a $262 million payroll. That is huge. And the other thing is, if there's holes, they're going to fix them at midseason. I think they want to see where they are and see how this thing works. And they'll go out and do stuff. So, it's really special. Baseball's really special because it's every day. It's sort of always on in the background, where football every Sunday it kind of takes over the day. Baseball's it's a different type of thing. It's always on in the background throughout the summer, and it's really special when the team is good and the stuff on the background is happy and making people happy, bringing people together. So, like I said, I'm really eager to see how it plays out, but I almost can't wait to. I want to push the fast forward button and see how this thing plays out in October, because that's where the shiny trophy is.
Hey, last thing, and then I appreciate your time as always, the great Jim Salisbury. You've been covering baseball a long time in this town. We always talk about, Philadelphia is a football town. The way these fans celebrate baseball, celebrate a good team, it's special. Like you've covered games all around the country. It's different here. And the whole world of Major League Baseball over the last 2 postseasons fell in love with it. I've talked to A-Rod about it. He's like, wow, man, what do you guys do there? It's amazing. It's so cool. And I think it just, we celebrate it differently.
Who doesn't love it? The excitement in October here is it's like no other city. And I mean, don't ask me, ask Trey Turner, who wanted to sign here and turned down more money from the Padres because he wanted to be part of it. And I mean, Taijuan Walker said he saw it and wanted to be part of it. Other guys have. So, football town, baseball town, Anthony, it's a winner's town. And when you win, they're going to love you. I offer to you Smarty Jones. I offer to you Barbaro. I mean, people fell in love with,
The story.
those
Yeah.
racehorses, those stories, because they were
Yeah.
winners.
Yeah.
If the Sixers win, they're going to blow the roof off the city. I mean, the hockey team is such an unbelievable great story right now, and so much
Yeah.
fun. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to play them in the first round. They're going to be
Right.
a tough out. They're going to be a tough out in that first round. I don't know if they'll get by it. They might get by that first round and drive somebody nuts, and then maybe hit a wall in the second round. But it's a great story. So Philadelphia loves a winner, and they got a great football franchise that is right there every year. Great. I'm just kind of a fan. I'm not like inside with the football, but it strikes me that they're a hell of an organization.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
from the top down, the owner, and it just seems like the Flyers are really moving in the right direction.
Yeah, they are.
And the Phillies are on a great course as well. So people in this town, I really think they love winners and parades and championships, and hopefully they're going to get some more soon.
Jimmy, you're the best, buddy. I hope to see a lot more of you. Love you, man.
Hey, right back at you, my brother, and we're checking you out. Good luck with everything.
Thanks, brother.
Congratulations. Okay, buddy.
The great
Happy
Jim
birthday.
Salisbury.